Today I'm going to tell you the hidden meaning behind Jesus washing the feet of the disciples. So this passage is found in John chapter 13 verse 7 and onwards. And if you know the story, you know that Jesus washes the feet of his disciples, and Peter says, well, wash all of me then, Lord. And it kind of passes over his head what Jesus is trying to teach them. But what if I told you there was another meaning to this? So on John 13:7, Jesus answered to him, what I do you do not realize now, but you will understand hereafter. Now, if you only keep reading on a surface level, it seems like Jesus is just trying to teach them an act of humility. But if it was only an act of humility and teaching his disciples how to be humble, why would Jesus say, what I do you do not realize now, but you will understand hereafter? I mean, Jesus practices multiple acts of humility and giving to the poor, feeding people, healing the sick. So this isn't something you would really have to understand hereafter if it was only just an act of humility. Furthermore, even after that, Jesus says, do you know what I have done to you? And part of this is also referring to Judas being unclean, and a reference to the betrayal that would happen through Judas. But as you may or may not know, there are different layers to the things that Jesus said and his teachings. And if you want a perfect example of this, I suggest you watch my video, what did Jesus mean by saying 70 times 7? And this is also found multiple times throughout the Gospels, such as when Jesus says that Lazarus is only sleeping. I mean, we obviously know that Lazarus wasn't only sleeping, but what I'm trying to get across to you guys is that there are multiple layers to the things that Jesus said, not just with his parables, but with his teachings. And this is because Jesus wanted his followers to have a deeper understanding on the things that he said. He wanted them to study the things that he said. So where am I trying to get to with this video? Why did Jesus wash the feet of his disciples? What if I told you this goes all the way back to Abraham? Now in John chapter 8, Jesus says, your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and he saw it and was glad. So Jesus is outright saying that he knows Abraham. He has met Abraham before. And then, of course, the religious Jewish authorities tell Jesus, well, you're not even 50 years old. How do you know Abraham? And Jesus, of course, responds by saying, truly, truly, I say to you, before Abraham was born, I am. I am is the divine name that the Father uses in the Exodus. So again, multiple layers with what Jesus is saying. But if Jesus met with Abraham, where would that be? In Genesis chapter 18, Abraham meets with God. And look at what Abraham says in verses 3 to 4. My Lord, if now I have found favor in your sight, please do not pass your servant by. Please let a little water be brought and wash your feet and rest yourselves under the tree. So Abraham, who was a disciple of God, washed the feet of God. Jesus clearly says he knows Abraham. He met Abraham, and Abraham was glad to see his coming. And then what does Jesus do? He washes the feet of his now disciples and tells them, what I do, you do not realize now, but you will understand hereafter. And then he tells them again, do you know what I have done to you? So if we put all the pieces of the puzzle together, Abraham met with Jesus. He washed the feet of Jesus. And then Abraham was glad to see that Jesus will come to the earth to redeem everyone. And now Jesus flips the script. He is so humble that now instead of having his feet washed, he is washing the feet of his disciples. This is the ultimate act of humility, and it is truly a 360 circle. He met with Abraham, he showed him his divinity. Now he comes again, and he comes as a humble servant to give to others. So I hope you guys have been able to understand all the points that I laid across. I tried to make this video as least confusing as possible, or less confusing. So if you enjoy that, just let me know in the comments, or if there's anything else that I need to clarify, let me know. I'm super excited to make this video. This is actually one of my favorite videos that I have ever made, because when I studied this, when I came to the realization of the meaning behind everything, it was just a beautiful moment. So I am so happy to share that with you guys. I hope you guys were able to take something out of this, and I hope this gives you courage to go into the scripture, into the word, and keep searching that treasure, those little nuggets of gold that are found in scripture, once you open your heart and your spiritual eyes to see what God has laid for us.